Okay, the title is Practical Guidelines to Combat FA, TFL, and Inceldom Experiences. There is tons of content on YouTube and internet in general regarding the concept of Inceldom, TFL, FA experiences, and men who have problem getting in relationship with women. Obviously, this is a very, very complicated issue, and the amount of content which is being put out indicates that this is a serious problem and lots of men are suffering from it. And unfortunately, it is not adequately addressed. And most of the contents that are out there, they tend to be negative, misguided, and they don't have any remedial value. And sometimes they do the exact opposite. They exacerbate the existing problem of men who turn into these YouTube channels for advice or just to get to know what is going on in the dating scene and what other men experience. So most of the contents from my own perspective, who have been studying, reading gender dynamic for years, and I have been through the ups and downs of the dating myself, and I was always bewildered that what is it that attracts women to men. So I have a track record of reading and observing, and I'm a very observing person, and I pay attention to details to find out what is it that makes some men successful with women and some men are not successful. So in order to understand the problem and tackle it, or put some framework for its management, the first thing is to acknowledge the problem and come up with a good analysis and prognosis of the problem. If the problem is not adequately explained and recognized, then the suggested solutions or therapy would not be helpful in dealing with the problem. Unfortunately, most of the contents out there, as I mentioned earlier, are not seeing at the problem from where it should be viewed. Lots of shaming tactics, lots of attacking fractions, this fraction against that fraction. Men are divided. You got the religious devotees of the look, money, and status. You got those who preach game, those who preach the concept of alpha male, which I'm going to talk about it in details. And I just realized that very, very few content producers have touched on the real issues that cause the problem. And unfortunately, these good points, valid points, are not in a comprehensive work that you can look through. So you have to dig into lots of waste of time and energy to find out something even remotely valid. So I had to do, I tried to put all these points together and come up with a rather comprehensive diagnosis for the problem. Before I get to the causes of these problems, I want to mention something. The whole manosphere exists. The whole manosphere exists with all of its variations and derivatives and side movements and this fraction against that fraction. They all exist for a simple reason, and that is men cannot get women. If men could get women, make towel disappear, Incel will disappear. TFL will disappear. PUA industry, which is a huge industry, will disappear. All these people who preach games and seductions and whatnot, they all have to go find another topic to talk about. MRA will disappear. They all will go away. The problem lies in the fact that they can't get women. What is it that's so important for men to get women? Now, this is one of the things that many men refuse to acknowledge. You don't die if you're not with a woman. You don't die out of the lack of sex or emotional intimacy with a woman. You can go without a woman the whole life and you would be fine. However, it is one of the man's essential need to be with a woman in a relationship. This is an essential biological and neurological need. And the male's health is fundamentally attached to his ability of getting women and being in a relationship with women. And this is not just sex. Sex is the least of your concern. Men who are not with women for very long period of time, they will face serious physical and emotional health problems. And this is known for the psychologists. Male who don't have women in long term, they will suffer lots of problems. I'm just gonna read you. This is one of the good works which has been done about the Inceldom, which is referred to as love shyness by the psychologists. This is a good work of Dr. Brian GILMARTIN. I read this book about 7-8 years ago. It's a very valid book still today. Let me just read some quotes. They did lots of studies in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And they noticed that men who were successfully dating from their late teens, from 17, 18 upward, they tend to be 10 years after in their late 20s, in their 30s, they tend to be in a much better position financially, socially. They tend to be much well adjusted to the society, much lesser social issues, behavioral problems. Financially, they tend to be much better off than men who could not date or did not date. And in every aspect of life, men who have been with women, they tend to be scoring higher than men who were not with women. This is one of the studies that they carried out in Harvard University. The findings revealed that non-daters were far less successful than daters financially in their careers and in their overall adjustment. And this is another main difference between men and women. Most researchers, this is page 13, most researchers today believe that women can find emotionally intimate companionship vis-a-vis their own sex, whereas men can only satisfy their needs for emotional intimacy in the company of women. And this is one of the traits that they found in men who are not dating for a long time. Symptoms such as loss of appetite, insomnia, inability to concentrate on work or studies, behavioral instability, a sharp dropping off in grades at a school, inefficiency, uncooperativeness, and aimlessness. And the trait that they found in men who were continuously dating and they were in a relationship was, example, vibrancy and enthusiasm, better grades at a school, increased capacity to concentrate, better and more efficient use of time, increased participation in social activities, better appetite, increased ability to sleep soundly, ability to remain effective with less sleep, improved overall health, increased attentiveness, improved outward appearance, and general ambience that made their friends and acquaintances view them as looking better, more alive and vibrant than they had formerly known them to be. And one of the most important things to emerge from the research was that men who were involved in reciprocated love relationship tended to exude extremely bright, very strong Kirlian auras, whereas men who were involved in unreciprocated infatuation tended to have a very weak, in quote, sick auras. What they did is, in one of their studies, they put the body under scanning, and they scanned the electromagnetic energy of a person, and they realized the men who haven't been dating for a long time, they have a different electromagnetic energy than men who were dating. And they called it the Kirlian photography. So it has a profound impact on the male's overall vibe, physical and mental well-being. And this is unfortunately one of the topics that many men refuse to accept, and they deny it with a very strong hard-headed denial of this fact, and they say we don't need women. Yes, you don't need a woman, but there is some physical and psychological repercussion for being single for a long time. Now, let me get to the main topic. The causes of living incel and TFL, and one's inability to form relationship with women. Doesn't matter how do you want to describe it. Love shyness, inceldom, whatever. I put lots of thoughts into it, and I came up with two sides of factors, two branches of factors. I named one external factors, and the other side internal factors. External factors are things that happen on a societal level, and they are beyond one's ability to change. And they come from societal changes, the circumstances, the time that we live in, the culture, the zeitgeist, if you want. So what are the external factors? And many men refuse to even see them and acknowledge them. And those who do acknowledge have difficulty to deal with it. The main issue is that the gender dynamic between men and women has changed substantially in the last 20-30 years. What we see here is the systematic female empowerment, a decision which comes from the highest echelons of power. If you live in a Western country, you will notice that women have better upward social mobility than men. Women have better upward economic mobility than men. Lots of big corporations, universities, they have programs only for men. They have programs, advertisement campaigns that targets women, empowers women, encourages women. Big corporations, government departments, they have quota for women. And they have to fill it only by women. So what that makes women, it makes women very more comfortable and secure socially and financially. If you're living in any major Western city, and you go to a major square shopping mall, and randomly stop 100 women between the age of 24 to 40, and randomly stop 100 men between the age of 24 to 40, and you genuinely assess their situation, you will find out, on average, the 100 women that you selected earn more than the 100 men. They tend to have better social life than the 100 men. They tend to have more stable employment than men. They drop out of high school and out of universities in far less percentage than men. So all of these things puts women in a much better place than men. Also, you see women have a very vibrant and dynamic social life compared to many men. Not all men, but many men. They tend to have a life at capacity. They have different obsessions. They tend to have exclusive female social life. You see this frequently. You go out to a night district, to an expensive restaurant, to a theater, to a show or something, and you see 5, 6 girls sitting together, drinking together. They're very content being with each other, and it's not even remotely on their minds that they want men, or they want to interact with men, or they want to attract men. It's not on their agenda. They are happy, they're content, they're satisfied. They don't need men. Another things that women tend to distract themselves, and it burns lots of their energies and resources, is their lifestyle. I mean, the obsession with pets, cats and dogs. They treat them like their children. They go to the gym, they go to yoga. There's a big travel fetish going on, especially late millennials and women in early 20s. They have to travel around a couple of times a year. That travel costs money, and she's going to university, and then she's studying part-time. Then she wants to go overseas a couple of years. Then she has to work hard, even on Saturday, Sunday, to make some money for her travel. And travel is a good way of burning cash. So when does she have time to date? When does she have time for you? I don't think she has time for you at all. And they sit with each other and talk about their plans for next travel. Oh, she wants to go to India, she wants to go to the Czech Republic, she wants to go to Peru. And they do what they do, and they don't need you. That's enough for them to distract them from dating, and even from their own sexuality. And I believe, this is another thing, I believe there is a decline in the female sex drive. A few guys mentioned this in the manosphere, but it hasn't been adequately addressed. In the last 30-40 years, the use of drugs has been incorporated in the mainstream culture more than it was in the past, especially for women. Recreational drug use, the use of psychotropic and psychedelic drugs for recreations. And all these drugs will have some sort of a physical and psychological impact on women. Another commonly used drugs nowadays, antidepressants and contraceptive pills. It is known for people who study drugs, and all you have to do some research and see the side effect of some of these drugs are that they alter the function of the brain. And one of these side effects could be the loss of sex drive, or a drop in sex drive. contraceptive pills now that they disturb the female mood. And nowadays, even teenage girls are taking antidepressant drugs. No wonder she's depressed. If she's working and she's doing a degree and she wants to travel 3 times a year and she has to take selfie and she has to put up with the Joneses and she has to do whatever the rest of the girls do, so she'll be stressed out and they're gonna go and munch these pills like there is no tomorrow for them. This is one of the reasons that I believe that women's sex drive is very low in the Western countries. Another cultural things that affect men is that women have disturbed sexuality due to psychological warfares and the chemical warfares that come through the psychedelic and psychotropic drugs and the antidepressant drugs, which have very similar components in them as the psychotropic drugs. They disturb the female sexuality. You see agenderism more than it used to be in the past. You see women who are very sexually cold and they are indifferent to men whatsoever. It's known as agenderism, that she's physically a female, but sexually and emotionally she's mute. An increased rise in the number of women who identify as lesbians. Lesbianism is promoted as a classy thing, as something desirable and valuable. And I just have to walk down my street and I see a gorgeous girl hugging a hideously looking creature, semi-female looking, I don't know what, and they swoon over each other. If you live in the major cities, you will notice that there is an increased number of lesbians, and today they are very upfront in display of their sexuality, and they bring it out, they show it to the public. So if the lesbian clique can recruit 5 or 6 lesbians a year from a suburb, you already have 5 or 6 women out of the dating scene. Okay? And believe it or not, it is more common than you think. Also, there's something else in the Western countries. The constant anti-male propagandas, the psychological warfare that constantly attack men and vilify them and belittles them in the eyes of women and portray men as rapists, as sex obsessed, as violent, as aggressive, as creatures who just want to hold women back from their freedom and from their development. So all these anti-male propagandas, which are very systematic, I believe, creates a sort of an adversarial mindset in the head of women against men, and makes women to keep themselves apart from men or associating with men. Also, men themselves participate in these misrepresentations of themselves and giving bad impression to women about themselves. One of the major movement which is online called Macho. I'm glad they are very a marginal movement and they don't have any real followers. You think if a 19-year-old, a 20-year-old girl randomly came up some of these Macho YouTube channels, she would be having a better impression of men? She would be thinking, oh yeah, I need a man in my life? I don't think so. Especially some of these degenerate, delusional, confused content producers. So we live in an age of female empowerment. When the female is empowered, and she is in control of all aspects of her life. The things that she usually, or in the past, used to look up to men, she's no longer needed to look up to men for those things. There's a social system that protects them. There's an employment order that gives them enough employment opportunities to be independent. There's a police force to protect them. The whole social fabric is there to serve them. So the traditional role of male is pretty much void and null for women. Literally, there is very little things that men today can offer to this empowered metropolitan woman. And where the female can derive no benefit from association with the male, no such association takes place, says Robert Briffault. Today, women are financially independent, emotionally secure, sex is free and abundant for them. Even if they thought about it, they can get it free, hassle-free. Emotional intimacy, they get it from each other. So what is the role of a male for them? Nothing. They don't need male. The role of a male today is only a social accessory and an emotional accessory. That's the role of the male for the most part. Another things that make women really behave the way they behave, and you see coldness from women, you see if they are in a relationship, they tend to be very demanding and bossy. They walk around with a hugely inflated ego. The male behavior participate in this. You know, the male gynocentric attitudes, the male supplications, the beggary, the neediness of men, the constant simping and cowing down before them for their satisfactions. All these things feed their ego every day. And the male behavior around women is a major part in making women more arrogant and unrepentant and unremorseful and cold. Men are willing even to stab each other to get a woman. I mean, the cases that two friends kill each other over a female is a common theme. Men are willing to inflict harms upon each other just to please a stranger female, a female that they don't even know, just to prove to a female that they're willing to put out so much effort and energy to please her, a woman that they don't have a relationship with. And all these elements together, the female empowerment, the coldness, the gynocentric culture, the simping, what it does, it inflates the woman ego, we said, and it brings out something inside every human being, male or female, doesn't matter. But it brings out that desire to dominate. And it make it exhibit itself on full scale. Dominatrix is a major fetish in Western societies, female domination, which which Robert Briffault called her desire to dominate. When everyone is sucking up to her and everything is under her control, naturally she'll have to act bossy and dominant and expect everyone to act like a servant in front of her. The desire to dominate takes different forms in men and women. Women's ambition is not to exercise physical compulsion, but to bend the will of others to her desire, to overcome not physical but psychical resistances. Her object is to have her way. The modern female wants to have her way. She learned she can do that, and she's not gonna give up that power. And this is a major thing many men don't understand. If she doesn't see you as a type of guy that comply with her demands in almost all aspects of the relationship, most likely you don't have a way with her. And so yeah, the female empowerment should be on our mind. This is one of the major issues that causes lack of understanding between men and women. And some men who just feel it, but they don't have, they don't know how to cope with it. It's a new age, it's a new era. Women are empowered. They don't need you for your muscle, they don't need you for intelligence, they don't need you for your money. Everything that you can do can be outsourced, so can be provided to them. They don't need you for protection. We don't live in caves. Once she walks out of the caves to get to the water well, she wants to get some water to wash herself or cook. There's no crocodiles or hyenas or lions. There's nothing. All she has to do, dial the 911 or whatever you have emergency call. Okay, all she has to do is scream, and men will just rush to the scenes to protect her if she feels unsafe. And that puts lots of men in big problems with women. So this was one of the sides of the male and female misunderstanding, which can cause Inceldom and TFLs and inability to relate to each other. The other side of it, I call them internal factors. These are things that you can control to a degree. These are things that relate to you individually. They might not relate to Jack and George and Jason and whatnot, but they can relate to you. I call them internal factors. There are two types of internal factors. One are called endogenous. The other one is called exogenous. What is the endogenous internal factors that prevent you from initiating or maintaining a relationship with a woman? In simple words, endogenous problems are inherited neurobiological conditions. They are part of your neurological makeup. They are inborn temperaments. Your neurological makeup directly affects your character, your mood, your body language, your facial expressions, tone of voice, quality of voice, verbal skills and mannerism, emotional responses, demeanor, etc. All of these things directly affect your romantic life. Many of these traits come from not your father, but your mother. Mother's temperament, the mothers of love shies or incels, tend to be antisocial, socially avoidant, tense and characterized with irascibility and cantankerousness. So if you're coming from a mother which is characterized with irascibility and cantankerousness, more likely you will cope a serious problem with your dating life. Irritable and tense mothers may even provoke love shyness or inceldom by rendering boys fearful and distrustful of getting close to women, which is the fear of intimacy. This is page 49 of Dr. GILMARTIN's book, Shy Man Syndrome. So, if you're coming from a mother which has a bad temperament, she's angry, she's irritable, she's always in a bad mood, she's always stressed and angry, psychologically it will screw you to the point that every time as an adult you get close to a woman and you're willing to escalate the relationship from friendship or someone that she knows to an intimate relationship, that neurological problem will come up and an alarm goes off into your head, because you know that the first woman that you saw, she was moody and she was angry, she was aggressive, she was bad-tempered. So something automatically happened in you and it changes your mood without you even noticing. But the woman in front of you, she will notice a change of mood. She might not be able to articulate it, but she will notice something off about you. And that's enough to kill off that sexual attraction. What are the other endogenous problems? The inborn problems. The hormonal imbalances in the brain, causing behavioral problem, which eventuate in low social skills and inceldom. Just to mention a few of these chemicals in the brain. Dopamine, which regulates the pleasure, motivation, and the body's ability to function. If you have a low dopamine, you get fatigued very, very quickly. It's called the pleasure hormone. Norepinephrine or norepinephrine, which is called the stress management hormone. Dealing with a stranger female and trying to initiate a sexual attraction can be a very, very stressful situation. And if you don't have enough stress management hormone, you'll be always stressed out in front of women and in your life in general. Serotonin or serotonin, monoamine. These hormones help to regulate the mood and social behavior, appetite and digestion, sleep, memory, sexual desire and sexual functions. So if you have any imbalance of monoamine and serotonin, you will be having difficulty creating sexual attraction and maintaining a sexual relationship. One very important hormone called cortisol, which is the stress hormone, and oxytocin, called the love hormone. Any imbalance of oxytocin and cortisol will leave you with serious health, physical health, and behavioral problem. And one of the side effects of this problem would be your inability to attract women sexually. It doesn't matter even if you're a good-looking guy, if you're a rich guy, it doesn't matter. These are inborn qualities in you. And I believe most of the incels, genuine incels, are having these hormonal imbalances in themselves, and they don't even know how these hormonal imbalances and neurological makeup affect their social lives and their datings. Moving on with the endogenous factors. One thing is very common amongst incels and people who are TFLers is hyperactive stress circuit. Hyperactive stress circuit means you get stressed out more often and more than the average person. So you see people walking around, they're always stressed. They're stressed when they talk, they're stressed at work, they're stressed at everything. And dealing with women, since it's very stressful, people with hyperactive stress circuit will find it difficult to cope with romantic situations. In simple words, stress is a killer of seduction. What is else? High behavioral inhibition. Behavioral inhibition, or in simple words, shyness. It's a result of one's neurological makeup. Shyness is related to your stress and your ability to cope under stress and to cope with unfamiliar, uncertain situations. Since dealing with a woman, expressing sexual interest in a woman is a very uncertain, unfamiliar thing, because the result is uncertain and unfamiliar. You don't know what the female is going to respond to you, how she's going to respond to you, and what is the consequences of the female's disapproving of your advances. Can be highly stressful. So men with high behavioral inhibition, they can't function. Yep, something back. If you have hyperactive stress circuit, you have a surplus of cortisol in your blood. Since shy people tend to have a surfeit of cortisol, and one of the major effects of high cortisol is that it suppresses the body's immune system and make the person susceptible to physical illnesses such as allergies, chronic fatigue, head colds, etc. So hyperactive stress circuit comes up with lots of health issues that, in comparison, your inability to date is far less irrelevant or far less important than the other health problems that these people have. Yes, and people with hyperactive stress circuit and high behavioral inhibition, it's very difficult for them to cope in unfamiliar situations and uncertainties in life, especially in dating. So dating becomes very painful and difficult for them. Other factors that you inherit, besides your mannerism, your demeanor, how you come by, how people perceive you, your vibe, your mood, most of it are part of the biological makeup that you inherit. Other things that you inherit, like common mental health issues such as bipolar disorder, autism, Asperger, schizophrenia, phobia of intimacy, social phobia, and most importantly, the introvert personality versus extrovert personality is mostly the result of your biological makeup. Most introverts, people who are genuinely introverts, it's not that because they choose to be introverts. It's because they have a biological makeup, make them socially awkward. Make them socially awkward, and they come by very off. They tend to have a small social circle. People don't like them. They don't know how to cope in different social settings, and they tend to be usually with very small social circle. Some they don't even have any social circle, and they will have difficulty in terms of dating, because remember, dating, your sex life is an extension of your social life. If you can't cope under social situations and you have like neurological problems, it makes you come by different or awkward or uncertain, smaller social life or no social life at all, and then very poor datings. I believe most of the genuine incels have behavioral inhibition, hyperactive stress circuit, and neurological imbalances in their brain. And I mean, some of the common YouTubers, like there used to be a guy called Kyle Incel, and there was another guy called William Lupacino or something, some Italian sounding name. There's another guy called Just James. He's an Irish guy. If you watch their videos, especially the older videos, and you put them together, you realize that these people are very, very stressed. They have difficulty breathing, and they're always nervous. Okay? These people, some of them think they don't get women because they're not attractive. Like Kyle Incel is a pretty boy. He got a pretty girly face. Like women will do anything to be with a guy with that kind of face. I'm not trying to put them down, but they're not ugly. They think they can't get women because they're ugly. They're not ugly. They have behavioral inhibitions and they have neurological problem, make them unable to cope socially and romantically. They get isolated, and then they wonder how they can get women. They can't get a woman. So what they do is they go to the PUAs and whatnot, and they get told to go talk to a random woman. They can't because they have high behavioral inhibition. It's not something that they are capable of doing. Even attractive men who are socially well adjusted might not be willing or able to talk to a random female because it's not a good thing to do. So these people will suffer, and they, as long as they can't point that finger where the problem is. The problem is not their look, the problem is not their low IQ, the problem is not their social status, it's not their height, it's the fact that they have high behavioral inhibition. And this is the case for most of the incels and TFLers. Some of them you see have very bad mood. There's something off about them. That aura, that vibe that they give off, it's a killer. And they don't get it. They don't get it unless they realize it's something about their aura, about their vibe, about their mannerism that turn off women. They're lost. Okay. Now moving on to the second part of the internal factors. So one section was the endogenous qualities that you inherit, or the endogenous conditions. The second part is exogenous conditions. These are behavioral and neurological, like mental issues that are induced in you through your life experiences and circumstances. If you have experienced trauma and post-traumatic stress disorder, you permanently damage your mood, okay? And trauma makes you like a shut down person. Your emotional system will shut down. Your nervous system is stretched beyond capacity. You shut down. If you have been a victim of sexual abuse, especially in your childhood, these types of traumas create an inability to trust and also induce in you a fear of intimacy. So the fear of intimacy here is the result of the trauma that you went in, not as something that you were born with. Parental psycho-emotional abuse. Some things that parents do to their children, and it leaves an impact on them for life. Things like belittlement, ego deflation, people who put their kids down, humiliate the boy, beat the boy, and constantly call him name. You're a loser, you're a failure, you can't do this. Constantly yelling at the child. Neglect, emotional neglect of children. It puts them in a state of anguish and anxiety. Coming from dysfunctional family and incompetent parents usually leave some substantial psychological impact on the children. When they grow up, they can't cope socially. They can't cope in a romantic situation. Lack of play in childhood. Kids who are segregated from their peers and rarely interact and play with other kids in their own age group, when they grow up, they find it difficult to initiate romantic relationships. Some parents they try to be good parents and discipline their kids. What they do is they separate their kids and prevent their kids from playing. Well, how else a child is supposed to learn social skill if he's prevented from playing? I don't get it. But some parents, they do lots of harm to their children. There was a study conducted on monkeys called Harry Harlow research on monkeys. The study found that young animals deprived of play were incapable of having sex as adults. Animals deprived of playing with their peers in their youth, incapable of having sex as adults. Social skills in human developed from childhood, and playing is where social skills are developed. So see into your childhood. If you face these types of problems in your childhood and you're a TFL and incel, that might relate. As you grow older, you come into adulthood. Prolonged lack of success with women. Consistent negative experiences with women, especially in early adulthood. Like you're 17, 18, 19 and you want to have a girlfriend, and whatever girl you turn into, she embarrasses you, she puts you down, she humiliates you. All sort of nasty things that women do. I call it disgusting female behavior. Disgusting female behavior will turn you into an incel or a TFL or a female hater. Because they don't know the way that they respond to a male that they don't like. It's just like hurting someone. Instead of saying, hey, look, thanks for your interest, but I'm not interested. No, what they do is they take a private conversation and they make it public, or they tend to humiliate the guy publicly in front of his peer group. I've seen this in the past myself, and I just saw a couple of videos that a female just shreds a guy in public just because he said, hey, I want to see you, can I have your phone number, can we meet sometime? And she just lash out at him. And unfortunately, women can do these things and get away with it. If these things happen to a guy, especially in his early adulthood, he will change his mind about women. And most of bitterness that men have about women, it comes from the female bad behavior. Consistent negative experiences with women in early adulthood. Example, shaming and embarrassment, belittlement, and ego deflation techniques that women deploy. Negative life experiences like loss of loved one, loss of jobs, loss of health, chronic illnesses, homelessness, loss of social capital, bullying. People don't realize bullying damages one's self-worth and destroys his self-esteem. And people who are bullied, especially in their adulthood, they tend to have horrible social life and they don't develop career-wise. They tend to develop avoidant personality disorder. And also, it comes up with lots of chronic physical illnesses because you're all isolated and you feel you're nothing. I think that covers a lot. Lots of jobs, especially you're in your early 20s and you get sick, you end up a couple of months in the bed or in hospital, and then you lose your job, you come out, you can't get a job. You end up 6 months unemployed, 1 year unemployed, while your friends are progressing in their careers or in their jobs, and you're just falling behind. You're lagging behind constantly. That would gradually isolate the person. Okay? And they tend to have like no social life or very poor social life. Sexual life is an extension of social life. If you don't have a social life, a vibrant and genuine social circle, tough luck. I believe some of the TFLers have this experience in life. Sorry. Go away. Lots of TFLers have these experiences in their lives, and this experiences is what make them socially dysfunctional, socially impotent, and incapable of attracting women. What else? These negative experiences alter the mood to the point that the brain will have to adapt to these conditions. Neurological problems are induced when a human faced adversity for a long period of time. The nerve system is stretched beyond the normal human capacity, leading to depression, anxiety, social disengagement, dysfunctionality, NEET, rage, and many other behavioral problems similar in nature and effects to the endogenous neurobiological factors. Moving on. What else? Unwilling or unable to adapt to social changes and conform with the norm. If you have very strong identity and you just don't, especially for young adults, you don't want to jump on trend bandwagons. You just don't want to get that popular haircut that everyone else has. You don't want to do the things that your peers do. They want to go to the bar and get drunk and act like yabos and hooligans, and you're not interested. You're not interested in the footy show. You're not interested in loud and noisy places like the bars and nightclubs that early adults go. That will put you in problems. Unwilling or unable to identify with the normal, well-adjusted of your peers, especially in early adulthood, leading to low social capital and, in extreme cases, to social isolation and disconnectedness. Conscientious objection to dominant norms, the popular norms of behavior, the habits, the thoughts, the ideas, the culture. Say you don't want to drink and every one of your peers, he's dwelling on alcohol. You don't want to do drug and all of your friends are taking drugs. You want to be well behaved and all of your peers and all the guys in the school, the neighborhood act like morons, and you want to maintain yourself like a gentleman. Obviously you'll be isolated. You're not into popular sports. You're not into, I don't know, watching a footy show or MMA or whatever is popular thing within your social surroundings. Conscientious objection to dominant norms. Example, popular music, habits, dress code, rights, mindset, etc. Norms of behavior, social changes, and accepted mode of conduct. This is a generational thing that you get to a point and you see guys who are a couple of years younger than you, they dress differently, they talk differently, they behave differently. A new style of haircut or dress code or male mannerism becomes popular and you're not interested into it. Like one of the most popular habits in the Western world is today the phenomenon of new age sensitive guys. It comes up with the mindset, social habits, style, mannerism, speaking mannerism and quality, the way men present themselves. If you're not interested in it, you're not willing to cooperate, obviously you're setting yourself apart and that will alienate you, and in the eyes of women you become very undesirable because women want to see the male in a social setting. If they don't see him in a social setting, they can't identify him. He remains like a mystery, some mystery that they fear of. So social compliance is very important in dating, especially in young adults. If you're not a socially compliant guy, if you have very strong male identity that if something doesn't match your moral code, your understanding of universe, your ideology, you will be in trouble with women and you have to accept the consequences. And in the process, you become very undesirable. And being undesirable, it will lead you to low social capital. So that's the problem of social conformity. You have to be socially compliant. To what extent? That's your question. It's not mine. That's your problem. You will decide to what extent you will be socially compliant. If you have limit, fine. I respect your choice. I have lots of limits for my behavior. But every choice that you make, it will have some repercussion, which can be socially, dating-wise, employment-wise, etc. One of the other issues is part of the exogenous external factor. You could be a good-looking guy. You could be socially well-adjusted. You could be employed, intelligent, well-mannered, average-looking or good-looking, but you're racially and socially undesirable. Okay? You will be having the difficulty attracting women because women do not want to be associated with men whom the society or their immediate society deem them as undesirables. It could be socially, it could be coming from the wrong postcode, it could be coming from the wrong family, it could be having the wrong ethnic background, it could be having anything. You never know. So if you're undesirable in a society that you live in, you're screwed dating-wise. Unless the female sees some substantial socio-political, economic, or emotional incentive to be with you. No woman wants to be with an undesirable male. Yes, so these were the external and internal factors. External factors, internal factors, the endogenous and the exogenous internal factors. And now let's go to some of the common ideas and themes that the manosphere propagates as reasons for you not having a girlfriend or unable to have a girlfriend or a romantic relationship. This is a very commonly regurgitated concept in the manosphere, and it seems the manosphere is very, very down on intellectually. The big religion is out there is the look, money, and status. Look, money, and status. It's good to have look, it's good to have some money, it's good to have some status. But look, I believe, has no substantial value in you and in your ability to attract women. See, guys cannot get women, so they go around concocting a philosophy of failure, and they have to come up with ideas like look, money, and a status. For someone who's been around for a longer time and experienced the ups and downs of everything and went around and interacted with people, I used to observe couples, even when I was a kid, long before I know what is sex and relationship. I used to observe couples. I tell you something, I tell you what to do. If you believe that look, your ugly look, or your shortness, your height, prevent you from getting a woman, what I want you to do is grab a notebook, small notebook in this size. You can put it in your pocket. You can buy it $1. Carry it around. Put it in your pocket with a pen for 6 weeks or for 4 weeks. Carry that notebook as you're going to work, or you're going to do your grocery shopping, or you're going to a shopping mall. You're going to get your lunch, you're going to a dinner, going to a show, going to a gym. Every day you open a new page. Put the date on. Write the couples. Male on a column, female on a column. Write the quality, the physical qualities of the men and women that you see together. They holding hand, they get touchy-feely, they swoon over each other. She touches him, she kisses him, she eyeballs him. Write it down. Couple 1, the male such and such, the female such and such. Okay? Don't be selective. Write down what you see and go to different places. And do that in 6 weeks. After the 6 weeks, come up with the summary of what you saw in 6 weeks and put out the summary. I guarantee you, the result would be that the number of unattractive men with beautiful or average women that you see will exceed far the number of attractive men with attractive women. Okay? You will be surprised that women will date anything under the sun. Short guys, fat guys, scrawny guys, short, skinny, bald or half bald with a little bit of pregnant belly, goofy guys, mongoloid looking guys, effeminate, scruffy guys that you look at his face, he hasn't had a shower in a week. His hair is just weird, and he just like left his beard, and he's like guys who wear like dirty, old, worn out clothes, weirdos, guys like he's wearing a pair of glass like as thick as the bottom of a beer jug, and he leaves his glasses. You realize that he's cross-eyed. Okay, I consider myself an ugly male. I'm an unattractive male. Okay. I weigh about 100 kilograms and 180 centimeters high. That's not a tall guy. It's not short, but it's not tall. And look at me. I'm not an attractive guy. When I could get women, my unattractiveness was not a hindrance. When I couldn't get women, my look was irrelevant. I just told you the reason, and I didn't include the look, money, and status because it is irrelevant. Women will date anything under the sun if it's sexually appealing or if it's emotionally triggering. Attraction happens on neurological, biological level. Okay? If you're good looking, good luck. But I have seen so many good looking guys struggle with women. I have seen so many rich men struggle with women, especially nowadays, because women are not looking up to you for money. They have their own money. Okay? I know guys who make good money and they have respectable professions and they cannot get women. Everything that you have, look can work against you, status can work against you, and your money can work against you. Your look can work against you because if you're a good looking guy, guess what? Who is chasing you? Women with low self-esteem, women who are mentally disturbed, okay? They just see a good looking guy and they go and throw themselves at his feet. So he has to constantly get him off his way. Get out of my way, okay? Good looking men, yes, they have a little bit of advantage. It's a bonus, but it's not be all end all things. Okay? Lots of women hate good looking men. I had to do lots of research to get something out of the female's mouth. She said, and I quote, and I'm going to leave you the video down. The good looking guy has plan A, B, C. The good looking guy has plan A, B, C. The ugly guy, I shit in his shoe and he says, I like your art. Okay, end quote. Watch the video. I'm going to leave that video. A couple of videos that are very important. It took me a long time to search and find them. And I believe it deserves that men pay some attention to them. Some women, not all women, some women hate good-looking men because he's a burden. What is the perception about good-looking men? They're players. They have lots of partners. They're not loyal. They're not trustworthy. They will cheat on you. All these things the women think about good-looking men. Yes, they see he's good-looking, they realize, but they don't want to have anything to do with him because they think he has lots of options and he's not going to stay with her. And that insecurity for women is paramount. They don't want them. She'd rather to be with a goofball than a good-looking guy. It gets even worse than that. Not good-looking guy. If women see... Sorry. If women notice that you're very comfortable with women, you can just walk up to any woman and talk to her and engage in a conversation. Some women think that you are a womanizer. You play. You like to have lots of partners. You're not going to be loyal to anyone. And they can't stand it. So what they do is they intentionally avoid good-looking guys, avoid men who are socially competent, and they go look around. They find a guy who's submissive, who's weird, who's socially awkward, he can't talk, and they'll date them. So, yes, good-looking men are not necessarily in a position that you will envy. Okay? Be careful with what you wish for. I have seen lots of good-looking men without women. Money and status attract the gold diggers and mentally disturbed women with low self-esteem you don't want to have anything to do with. How many rich celebrities we know that they committed suicide out of loneliness? Or they ended up in a wrong relationship, they got screwed over, ripped off, and they died alone, or they committed suicide. Okay? Get that nonsense of look, money, and status out of your head. If you do what I told you to do, you will realize that women date anything under the sun. Anything under the sun. As a matter of fact, it has never been easier for unattractive men to date good-looking women. This is the time. This is the age for unattractive, awkward men. Okay? Get it out of your head. I don't want to spend lots of time talking about that nonsense of look, money, and status. Another myth, another common myth that the manosphere constantly repeats. Lots of YouTubers use it in their own name. Alpha. The myth of alpha male. or the concept of alpha versus beta, it's constantly repeated in the manosphere. It's just like regurgitation, like the cows, they regurgitate. That's how they do. Everyone came to you with the concept of alpha versus beta and tried to shame you or pretend to be as an alpha, and he's trying to tell you something. What you do? Immediately discount him. Alpha versus beta concept is rooted in Darwinian and eugenic literature. These people who blindly just hear a word and they just blindly repeat it, they don't understand where is it coming from. It's coming from pure Darwinian literature. It's only a theory. Okay? Yes, humans are animals, but we're far more complicated animals than a pack of wild dogs in the bush or a pack of wild wolves in Alaska. Human societies are much more complicated. Animals don't have memory. We have. They don't have manners of passing on information. They don't have constant communication. We have. Animals don't have dexterity. We have. Animals' social orders are very limited. Our social order constantly emerging and changing. So comparing the male and female of human animals with other animals is just a primitive error. Okay? These people should be discounted immediately. Everyone came to you pretending to be an alpha. Okay? You tell them that I'm gonna flash the toilet and you'll be down. Ignore them altogether. Write it down. This was one of the therapies. Ignore them. I suggest these people do some research about the Darwinian mindset and the eugenic and what it's actually about before they just repeat alpha male, alpha male, alpha male. There's no such thing as an alpha male. Yes, the alpha male is applicable to animals, not to humans. Another idea is constantly repeated. Game. You see, especially African American YouTubers, dating coaches and PUAs. Have a game, bro, have a game. And guys, we're not children. This is not game. This is this serious social and mental health problem for men. We're not children. If you want to play a game, go to the playground and play with the kids. It's supposed to be a manosphere for men, for adults. Have a game. What is game? I don't get it. What is game? Find your purpose. This is one of the things that the PUAs and the dating coaches repeat. Oh, I can't get a woman. What should I do, coach? Find your purpose. What a dumb statement that is. Find your purpose. What is your purpose? You're a biological being. You have a biological imperative. You have urges. Find your purpose. Okay, coach. Okay, found my purpose. But I can't get a woman still. Work on your purpose. But I've been working on my purpose. Still can't get a woman. Go to the gym. Work out. Ignore them, okay? Everyone came to you with this concept of have a game and find your purpose. Ignore them. They have no ideas, okay? They're making fun of you. Confidence. What is that, confidence? It's meaningless, vague word. If you're comfortable in your skin and you can hold a conversation with a woman or with anyone, you should be fine. The problem is not your confidence, okay? The problem is that you have endogenous neurological problem affecting your behavior and other life experiences which has affected your brain. So your brain cannot function in certain situations. Here's the big one, hypergamy. Hypergamy. Again, guys cannot get women, so they go around and they try to find a philosophy to justify the fact that they're having difficulty with women. And they found this word hypergamy. Yes, we know hypergamy exists, but hypergamy is not practical for women. Also, hypergamy is not only for women. Men are hypergamist as well. Many men use women, or they look up to a woman that can ascend them or elevate them in the social hierarchy. So why are you blaming women on hypergamy when in fact we know many men are hypergamists? How many men that you know he wants to use the female for her status or her money? How many men that you know has his girlfriend buy his grocery? How many women that you know being leached off by a male? How many low status or low self-esteem men desperately trying to be with a more attractive woman of a better social standing just to satisfy their or somehow overcome their inferiority complex? So whatever you say about women can come back and say it about you, because it is applicable to your behavior as well. Not all women are hypergamist, okay? Especially today. Women are not looking up for anything to men. So why are they hypergamist? What do you want to offer her that she doesn't have? As a matter of fact, I believe today women are less hypergamist than any time before. Why do some women prefer submissive men? Hierarchically disparate couple reach higher reproductive success in Europe. Equality between partners is considered a feature of the functional partnership in westernized societies. However, the evolutionary consequences of how in-pair hierarchy influences reproduction are less known. Attraction of some high-ranking women towards low-ranking men represent a puzzle. Let me read it one more time. Attraction of some high-ranking women toward low-ranking men represent a puzzle. High-ranking women, low-ranking men. Human pairs with a hierarchic disparity between partners conceive more offspring than pairs of equally ranking individuals, who in turn conceive more offspring than pairs of two dominating partners. The subjects preferring hierarchy disparity in partnerships were with greater probability sexually aroused by such disparity, suggesting that both the partnership preference and the triggers of sexual arousal may reflect a mating strategy. The results challenge the frequently held belief in within-pair equality as a trademark of functional partnership. It rather appears that the existence of some disparity improves within-pair cohesion, facilitating both cooperation between partners and improving the pair's ability to face societal challenges. The parallel existence of submissivity/dominance hierarchies within human sexes allows for the parallel existence of alternative reproductive strategies and may form a background for the diversity of mating systems observed in human societies. Okay? I'm done with your hypergamy. What else? Something about the height I just forgot to mention. Do you all remember that beautiful German-American actress? She got married to an American actor who was literally a midget. You know who I'm talking about. He died recently. So if you think your height is the hindrance to your ability to get women, I think you need to think twice. Another garbage men regurgitate. Masculinity, this myth of masculinity versus, oh, you gotta be masculine, you gotta maintain masculine and dominant frame. Masculine and dominant frame. They keep saying it, masculine and dominant frame. Let me read something for you. Sensitive or submissive men are very different from normal guys in their behavior. Many of the dating rules don't apply to them at all, and much of what you thought you knew about men won't work when dating them. I can't tell you if there are more sensitive men nowadays than in the past. It is most likely that more men are allowing themselves to be openly sensitive and vulnerable. It used to be clear-cut that men could not show signs of weakness or vulnerability to anyone. But in modern times, in bracket, fortunately, men have managed to emancipate themselves from those social expectations, and I think it is wonderful. I am particularly talking about men who wish to take on a more submissive role in their relationship with women. They don't mind a woman taking charge and making many of the decisions. In fact, they love it. They look for women who will wear the trousers in the household. Submissive men are attracted to strong and confident women who likewise enjoy holding the reins. This is a woman writing, okay? How to date a sensitive man. Don't approach them like other guys, okay? They are a completely different animal. They think and they feel differently from the regular guys. And this means that you have to deal with them in another way. You have to take charge. Be wary of men who claim to be sensitive. So there are men who already know being sensitive and submissive and vulnerable works well with women. So she's warning other women, be careful with men who claim to be sensitive and submissive. With sensitive and submissive guys, you need to become the hunter. You know what kind of a man you want, so go and find him and just pick him up like a trophy he is. The truly submissive men are out there waiting for you, waiting for exactly that to happen. Okay? This is a woman writing to other women on a female website. How to recognize a sensitive, submissive man. Take note of their demeanor. Submissive guys tend to be very attentive listeners. Take note if they struggle to make any type of choices. Tips for dating submissive men. Take the reign. A sensitive man will have expectation of you. A big one you must meet is taking charge most of the time. Taking charge most of the time. Treat him as an equal. Be a good listener. Being open and vulnerable may be challenging for a guy. Always hear them out and make them feel comfortable in knowing they can talk to you. Are we talking about like little boys, schoolboys? I don't know. But this is a woman telling other woman. A submissive man is ideal if you really like doing things your way. You should be sure if they are fine on how you run things. But they will generally be content with whatever makes you happy. Let me read it one more time. They will generally be content with whatever makes you happy. They are more than happy to cater to your needs in a relationship. They will often go out of their way to make you happy. They will do exaggerated acts of chivalry towards women. Expect to be asked a lot if things are to your liking. What I like about them. It is closely related to my attraction to feminine men. I feel much more of a connection to them and can get much closer emotionally. Pay attention to this. I feel much more of a connection to them and can get closer to them emotionally. I also get a strong maternal instinct kicking in when I see a man vulnerable and submissive. I also get a strong maternal instinct kicking in when I see a man vulnerable and submissive. It makes me want to hold and protect him, just like I would do with a kitten. End quote. And then these clowns and PUAs and dating coaches tell you, maintain a masculine frame. Be a macho, be an alpha. Don't show weakness. More fun. Women who like feminine men. The phenomena of women liking feminine men. The reasons are quite obvious. In a time of peace and relative safety, there is a little need for a strong and protective man in your life. Hello? In a time of peace and relative safety, there is a little need for a strong and protective man in your life. He can't protect you from the common dangers of modern life. Example, accidents, illness mostly, and statistically, men are in fact more affected by those dangers than women. Logic would dictate that women should start taking on more of a protective role, and I believe we are seeing some of that happen right now, but that it is another topic. The other reason is not so obvious. Intimacy and emotional connections. Those things are what a long-term relationship is made of, and they are hard to achieve with the old-fashioned rugged type. Those things are difficult to achieve with the old-fashioned rugged type. What about evolution? Just because women are often attracted to masculine men doesn't mean it is a generic trait. It could and probably is mostly social. I also love feminine traits in a guy's behavior. I love to see some vulnerability, and in this sense, I also like to see the physically delicate type. Physically delicate type, guys. The physically delicate and vulnerable type of men give me a sort of a protective instinct. I just want to hold him tight and keep him safe from the big bad world. I never decided to be that way. It is just what comes up in response to what I see around me. So it's something emotional, neurological, biological. Moving on. You still convinced that you need to be more masculine to attract a man? Be more macho, work out, work on your biceps and triceps and make your neck big like a dinosaur or something? 5 myths about feminine men. This is a woman trying to tackle the myths associated with feminine men. She is defending feminine men. And look what picture she puts on. Okay? The most soyish, girly guy on the planet. Myth number 1. Feminine men are gay. No, they're not. Feminine men are weak. No. She says no. Feminine men are selfish. No. Feminine men make bad boyfriends or husbands. No. Masculine men are better protectors. She says, oh, masculine men are not good protectors. They're not bulletproofs. She says, in fact, I personally feel safer in the presence of feminine men. Besides, in modern times, the best kind of a protection a man can offer is financial security. And today's women often financially independent and do not need that from a man. So why not lift that burden from men and learn to love them for other qualities? Okay. Another common myth in the manosphere. I heard some of this, one of these popular loser on YouTube with his associates, his ideological friends or team members or, I don't know, clan members or comrades, and a couple of the trolls that they have. They attribute the mass migration as a reason that they can't get women, especially the migration of men to the West. Here's the thing. I believe that these people they never talk to a migrant. Like, I'm a migrant. I'm an Arab. Okay? Living in the West, historically, 2 types of women, Western women, Caucasian women, married outside of their own type, outside of their own race. The leftover woman, the woman with low quality, low social skills, no much charms and attraction. They used to go for men of all the races. and women who are gold diggers, women who used to chase men with money, status, fame, etc. But now things have changed. Nowadays, most of the Caucasian women who date non-Caucasian men, they do it because of their uncontrolled sense of domination, the dominatrix fetish which is coming out, or they do it because it's a trend. They're not marrying outside of their race because they're interested in the guy's macho or his money or because she doesn't have any options. No. Most interracial couples that you see, where the female is Caucasian, the relationship is initiated by the female. Okay? I'm an Arab. We're negatively portrayed. Okay? I don't wish it for anyone. You're portrayed as a rapist, as a woman abuser, as violent and aggressive, and these people treat women like shit and whatnot. I heard this expression all the time. When you're negatively portrayed to a woman, when you're portrayed as a villain, the woman doesn't want to have anything to do with you. Okay? If you see an Arab with a woman, a Western woman, he is either associated with a criminal outfit, a mafia, a gang, or is a drug dealer, okay, something of this nature. Or he's come from a very, very wealthy family. Very, very wealthy family. Like not having money, having the surplus of money that you don't even have to work. So women go for them for their money. Or they're very, very professional. They're hyper-professional and they're very successful in their profession. So they have some sort of a celebrity status. You don't see a European girl, a Caucasian girl with an Arab male, okay, just because she liked him, okay? By the way, Arab men are not even remotely concerned with Western women, okay? Get all this rape campaign out of your head. The rape news is cooked in a psychological think tank somewhere in Washington, D.C., or in Tel Aviv, and they feed it to you. Okay? Men who are portrayed as rapists, they don't even go near women. I mean, give me anything but not a Caucasian woman. Most of them, the relationship that you see are trends. Okay? A trend, it's a trend, it's a fashion. All of a sudden, she wants Asian guy. She sees her friend with an Asian guy. She wants an Asian guy. Where I am currently, there's this Southeast Asian fever. Southeast Asian and the subcontinent. India, Nepal, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, these countries. Bangladesh. Okay? 10 years ago, women wouldn't even look at these guys. These guys couldn't get close to a woman. Only an undesired woman wanted to marry one of them. Or he had so much money that a gold digger smelled some cash and went to him. Okay? Tomorrow the trend will change. And these guys will become, like before, undesirables. These non-Caucasian ethnic guys that you see with Caucasian women, I want you to watch their mannerism. I want you to watch their demeanor. I want you to closely watch the relationship and see the gender dynamic between the male and the female. I can tell you 9 out of 10 times, the female go for them because they find them gynocentric, effeminate, emasculated, submissive, gynocentric. They worship her. They treat her like she's a god, she's a deity, she's a royalty. They act around her like a supplicant. God knows how hard they begged to be with that woman. God knows how compromised they are to be with that woman. You don't want to be that guy. Okay? These women who date these types of guys, you would not have any chance dating with her to begin with. Even if these immigrants would not have existed. Even if you were socially, financially, mentally, physically in a good shape, you would not have any chance with these women because they're neurotic, narcissistic, dominatrix. They search for these types of guys. I don't envy any of these guys being with a woman, okay? If that's the Arab guy, I told you, he's a drug dealer or he's highly paid professional, which is 10 times probably has to work harder to be successful in a very hostile environment. I get hatred for just existing. How I'm going to compete with you to getting the woman that you want and you think you're qualified for. I just don't understand this nonsense. Okay, and the Arab men are the least of people who are concerned with dating Western women are the Arab men. They're not interested. So get it out of your head, okay? You don't wish to be with that non-Caucasian guy with the Caucasian girl, okay? If you think they look good, look into the power dynamic between them. Do you want to act? Do you want to walk with a woman like a valet? Do you want to act like a clown around her to have her approval with you? I know I don't. So be careful with what you wish for and where you put your anger. Now, what else I wanted to say? I'm going to get into the solutions. Remember, dating and romantic part of your life is the extension of your social life. It is much more important for a male to have a good social life than a female if they want to attract a partner of the opposite sex. Page 82, the shy man syndrome. Women who are unpopular with their own sex often become highly popular with men. But males unpopular with members of their own sex virtually never become popular or even mildly successful with women. Our cultural norms require males to impress females with their social economic competence, not vice versa. It is easier to meet members of the opposite sex through friendship networks than through any other means. It requires more social self-confidence to initiate a conversation with a total stranger than it does with someone to whom one has been introduced by a mutual friend. This is the importance, the paramountcy, I should say, of having a vibrant and healthy social life and an active social circle. And this is the major problems for the TFLs and incels. This one will lead us to something else. You need to put yourself in natural proximity with women. If you want to learn the skills of talking to women in an informal manner, to be comfortable around women, to understand their facial expression, their emotional responses, how they think, to what they respond, what they're up to, what is their preferences in men. You must put yourself in a place that you can naturally, then I insist, naturally interact with women. In social science, they call this natural interaction mode of standardization or standardization. The mode of standardization must be applied comprehensively to all daily activities. The mode of standardization, which I'm going to explain, allows a natural, stress-free, voluntary interaction between the sexes. It helps to build the skills for formal and informal interaction. It reduces the friction between two strange male and females. And once this fear, stress is gone, then you have a room to build some sexual tension or attraction, or at least friendship. What is the mode of standardization in social science? Page 62. There is a well-supported theory in social science called the mode of standardization, stating that the more frequently two different groups interact with each other, provided that the interaction is not brought about by coercion, the better able to understand and to appreciate each other they are likely to become. Interactions also leads to increasing agreements in attitude, values, beliefs, and aspirations. If you don't have a social life which has enough women, so what is your options? You have to desperately walk up to every woman that they see attractive, walk out of your comfort zone, out of your safe zone, go to a complete stranger female. You don't know her name, you don't know how old is she, you don't know her mental status, you don't know if she's sane, you don't know if she's carrying a gun, you don't know if she's gonna scream and attract the attention of surrounding men, which is highly dangerous. So you have to adopt a way of life that puts you in close contact with women. We have to start from work. You must put yourself in a place that you have to interact with women. So go, especially if you're a younger guy, go for jobs that there's lots of women involved in it. Go to a department which has lots of women in your age group. Even if you don't like them and they don't like you, by time you learn how to have informal conversation with women. Avoid jobs which are male dominated, or the jobs that at least put you in a confinement, or you don't tend to interact with people. This is crucial. A normie is fine. A normie, you can put him in a cubicle or in a factory or whatever. He can work on himself for 12 hours, not interacting with anyone. Because they have existing social networks, they have something to fall back on. But for a TFL and Incel, it is paramount that you have your work be a type of work that allows you constant, stress-free, safe interaction with the opposite sex and with lots of people. So this will allows you to naturally practice social skills, practice interacting with women, practice interacting with women that they don't like you. That's a skill. Practice to interact with a woman that you find attractive but she's not interested in you. So you have to learn how to deal with it. By time, you pick up skills without even you noticing it. You notice when a woman likes you. You notice her vibe. You understand if she's into you or not. You understand, oh, today something wrong with her. Most of these TFLers' problem comes because they don't understand the female emotional responses. They don't understand female body language. They don't understand how the female operate. Because we spend most of our day working and traveling to work, so the work becomes a major part of your life. Use your work as a platform to interact with women. This is paramount. Avoid jobs which segregate you. They're male-dominated jobs, or they're jobs that there is no woman at all. Go for jobs that there's lots of women in it. And by putting yourself into proximity of women, you learn skills. You become normal around women. You act normal around women. Most incels and TFLs and FAs don't realize how off they come by. Okay? And I get to that in the coming passages. Learn how to be in proximity of women. Male-dominated job, leave them. Go to a job which has lots of women. Sport activities. This is one of the things that men like to do and the manospheres like to talk about very often. Your sporting activity has to fall within the frame of mode of standardization. Avoid individual sports. Okay? Participate in group sport. Say you like to play football or basketball or anything of that kind. Go for places that you can play in a group, and they can't reject you. They might reject you here, but you go to another club, they will accept you. Participate in group sport, not in individual sports. Individual sports don't help you to learn social skills. They don't help you to know anyone. Aggressive sports, I say be careful with them if you're an incel or a TFL, because you come up very strong and hyper masculine, and that is scared of lots of women. So yes, keep yourself in shape, but don't be overly masculine and build up. That's not a good thing nowadays. Gym. Let's get to the gym and working out. I remember 20 years ago, 15 years ago, when I used to go to the gyms. You could make friends at the gym. You could talk to people. Women didn't go to the gym at that time very often, but still, you could talk to a woman at the gym. You could make a friend. You could see a guy, hey, what nights you're working out? Let's work out together. And you could make a friendship at the gym, at least on that level. But nowadays, most of the gyms everyone is uptight, everyone is into himself, everyone is having an earpiece and doesn't want to know anyone else. So a gym does not help you to build social network. It just burns out your energy. Use that. If you go into a gym, most popular gyms have group sports classes, and they're not that expensive. Instead of working out alone, participate in one of these group sports. They give them different names like all body workouts and fitness and whatnot. They're group sport that there's an instructor and there's a group, and the instructor trains the group. And usually it's a 45-minute session or 1 hour session. Usually in these groups, there are more women than men. Most places you think the group is only a woman, but no, it's open to males as well. Go there and participate in this group sport, even once a week. There you can talk to women, you can at least say hello to them. That allows you to come out of your own self. You see the vibe of a female, and she affects your vibe. It's a stress-free environment, even if she doesn't like it, which is fine. But at least you learn how to have a short conversation with a female. Hey, how are you? How are you doing? How's the workout? That's enough good to build your skills of interacting with women. And also, if you have high behavioral inhibition, that will help you to control your high inhibition or phobia of women. Gradually, it becomes normal for you. So 1 night a week, do that group sport. 1 night a week, go somewhere, play football or basketball, where you can interact with youth in your age group. Okay, I'm sure if you're under 30, you can find a place that you can play group sport. Maybe you go somewhere and everyone gives you a dog face. Go somewhere else. Once a week, play group sport. Okay, by time you get to know a couple of these guys. And these guys have social life. You know where they hang out, what they do, what they're up to, how they attract women, which one has a girlfriend, which one is better with women. See who is better with women. Try to watch his behavior. Try to emulate his behavior. Try to be his friend. Okay? Then you walk out the street, you go to a busy place, you go to an entertainment venue, and you see some of these guys. That's your social base. This is how you gradually build social base. Use your sporting ability to build a social base for yourself. Lifting weights is not going to help you socially and dating wise. Boxing, don't do it. I used to box since I was 17. Most people at the boxing gym are just numbnuts. They're low IQ men, okay? They're not going to help you with anything. You're not interacting. You're just beating each other. It doesn't help you build social skill with women. And you tell a woman, I play boxing, she'll freak out. She'll be terrorized. If women ask you what sport you do, tell them, look, I play netball and frisbee. That's what women like. That sounds right to them. But don't tell them I'm a boxer and I kickbox. No. Definitely no. Some of these PUA clowns, they tell you to work out, work out, work out. This have no. How does working out improve your chance with women? What are you, a professional athlete? You have to work out? I don't understand. A matter of fact, men who don't work out have better chance with women today. So let your sport activity be a group activity. This is a major thing. Some of the guys who go through TFL and Incel and FAs, they don't know how they come by. The perception that you have of yourself is very different than the perception of a female of you. The perception that you have of yourself is different than the perception of a stranger female of you. Be careful how do you come by. Okay? Many of you have experienced very difficult things in your life, which I understand. Someone like Blue Sky Media, if you look at his face, it's just depression, sadness, and anger. And a woman does not understand what you went through. Okay? She looks at you and you come by off, and that's the killer of sexual attraction. So what you need to do is you need to control your emotions. Okay? You gotta tell yourself, look, I've been through this, but I'm gonna control it. I'm not gonna be negative. I'm not gonna be bitter. Okay? I'm gonna be happy. Practice being happy. The happiness of your emotions, you have to trick your brain sometimes. You have to trick your brains. Control your emotions, your thoughts. Negative thoughts will come out on your face. Okay? If you come to me and you had a hard day, I look at you and I notice. It takes a professional actor to hide your emotion. So practice on hiding your negative emotions. At least control them. Body language. If you come by as an aggressive male, this is a no, no, no. Women are frightened of a male who comes by angry and aggressive. That's a terror. Don't make that mistake. Watch out how do you come by. If you're overly masculine male, if you have a strong physique, be very, very careful that you don't come by as an angry, aggressive male. And then you're hyper masculine. That's a bad combination, my friend. That's a deadly combination. Once you control your emotions, your thoughts, your body language, you gradually start to come by as a normie. Okay? You have to act it until you make it. You have to become a normie. At least outwardly, you're a normie. And that affects your aura. You have to hide that negativity, fight it, get it out of yourself until your aura becomes healthy. Okay? I can see a guy and I tell you he's angry, he's bitter. Women will notice that. Even the dumbest female will notice that. Okay? Some people have naturally bad facial expression, like myself. If women see you as angry and aggressive and bitter, they don't want to have anything to do with you. You could be a comedian. You could be the funniest guy to have around. Women don't want you. You could be the most interesting guy to have around. Once women see you, straight away, this guy is angry and bitter, or he comes by angry and bitter, she will cut you off in a second. I think, what is his name? Monday Blue mentioned this in several of his videos, that you have a facial expression which gives you a wrong impression of actually who you are and your feelings. And that puts you in lots of trouble, socially, at work, and with women. So this is what I call perception management. You got to understand, how do you come by a woman? Just go to a woman, hey, I just want to ask you a question. What do you think about me when you saw me? Okay? Ask this question to women that you know and let them talk. They tell you. Okay? Sometimes it comes out of their mouth. If they think you're angry, you're aggressive, you're blocked off, you could be the most handsome guy. They don't want to see you. So perception management is the key for your success with women. People who have bad facial expressions, I suggest do a facial massage a couple of times a day. Every morning you wake up, when you're having a shower, massage the muscles of your face so the muscles be relaxed and easy. If you had a very difficult life, very stressful life, going through a hell of a difficulty, someone passed away, you lost your job, you're homeless, I don't know, the sky is raining difficulties and troubles on your head, that affects your facial expression. You look different. If you go through difficulty, like series of vicious events in your life, after a year or two, you look at yourself in the mirror, you look different. Because it takes a toll on you. So especially guys like the Blue Skies media, you look at his face, you can tell he's worn out. He is worn out. And lots of sadness and bitterness. So for guys who experience things like that, or they have similar look like him, I suggest do the facial massage 2-3 times a day. People who have unattractive or ugly voices, which turn off women immediately, what you need to do is, in your daily routine, incorporate, say, 15 minutes voice practices that improve your voice, improve your ability to speak freely and comfortably, without a stuttering, without coming by odd or off or weird. There are lots of voice exercises on YouTube. Lots of professional actors try them, and this is how they improve their voice. Podcasters, news anchors, they do voice exercises all the time. Singers, they all do voice exercise. Voice is something that you give out. So if it's a bad quality, which is not your fault, but there is a small degree of improvement which you should incorporate in your therapy. I put lots of thought in how do you manage your mood and get yourself out of that sad, bitter, angry, down mood. One of the good things is laughter therapy. So incorporate laughter therapy in your daily routine. You wake up early morning, instead of turning on to some of these disgusting Mactos or clownish PUAs or TFLers or incels, all that negativity and nonsense and meaningless talk. Watch a good comedy sketch instead. Make yourself, just have a comedy on, just download it on your mobile phone. Just listen to it as you go to work, as you come back from work to home. Listen to comedy, listen to something that makes you happy, makes you laugh. That will change your vibe completely, and at least gives you a balance between your own negativity and sadness. Something distracts you and makes your body to rejuvenate itself, at least to a very small degree. So laughter therapy is I believe is needed to be incorporated. I noticed something between the TFLs and incels and people who are socially facing problems. Many of them tend to have blocked nasal passages. Dr. GILMARTIN talks about this issue. This is very common. When you have blocked or narrow nasal passages, you can't breathe comfortably. So when you talk, you come by as someone who's stressed, even if you're not. You come by as someone who's angry or you got attitude. And you tend to get tired faster. You tend to be stressed faster because there's no enough oxygen to your brain and your blood. So some of you who are young and are financially in a good position, nowadays you can do an operation and if you have a smaller nasal passage, you can fix it. It can be done by operation, and it takes a time, and you'll be breathing normally. I have talked to a couple of people who've done that, and they say our lives have changed. Or at least you can get there are sprays that open your nasal passages if you get nasal blockages, especially in winter or if you have allergy. Many TFLs and incels have hypoglycemia. This is also associated with high behavioral inhibition, low anxiety and stress threshold, which makes them prone to anxiety and depression. And they have very low threshold for pain. So you got to be mindful of this. Keep a healthy routine. Try to eat well, exercise, maintain hygiene around yourself. We know it has been talked about, okay? I'm not trying to repeat, but some people, they don't get it. So yeah, you must have deep breathing exercises. Have it 4 or 5 times a day. Just breathe deep and let it go. And try to clear your mind and have enough oxygen in your head. Breathe. Try to do it a few minutes every hour. Just breathe normally and relax. That will improve your mood, improve your ability to focus, concentrate, see what needs to be done around you. And all the stress will be shut down, at least suppressed temporarily when you breathe well. You got to be very, very mindful of what you are and where you are and the problem that you go through. Being a TFL or an incel or FA, it's an excruciating pain, okay? There is a common problem with people who experience this, and that's their descent into nihilism and destructive behavior, or NEET, not engaging educational or employment or training. Because TFLers and incels, most of them lack motivation. They don't see any point in life. And all the effort that they put out, they don't get any satisfaction out of life. They fall in the lower stratum of the workplace. Many of them are unemployed or underemployed. I mean, you can see from their YouTube, you know, the guy is 30, he doesn't have a job, and he wants to get laid. If you're an incel and a TFL, getting laid should be the least of your concern. If you have a list of priorities, getting laid should be here. Okay? You have to manage your health and manage yourself first. Talmer SHOCKLEY, the author of this book, he wrote about his own personal experience, The Love Shy Survival Guide. He also observed this in many of people that he came across and were incels or TFLers. Many tend to be underemployed or working in jobs which fall below their skill level because they don't have motivation. They lose their competitiveness. Okay? So most likely they don't develop themselves professionally, or they end up in low-paid jobs. So the solution is you have to be mindful of this situation and what it's going to put on you. Strive to go higher in the occupational ladder. Now, I'm not the type of guys who preach, yeah, work two jobs and kill yourself, exhaust yourself for survival. I don't believe in that idea. But if you have to work for a living, go for a high-paid job. What is the highest paid job that you can perform mentally and physically? Go for it. Because you're going to work, you're spending the time, the energy, and your emotion. So go for something that pays you back for your efforts. Do not dwell on low-paying jobs, especially if you're a young guy. Do not dwell on these low-paid jobs because they kill you socially. They alienate you socially. I'm not preaching a status and that nonsense. But as someone who lived long enough, I understand. If you're the lowest at the lowest bottom of the occupational hierarchy, it won't impact your life if you're a late teenager or someone who's in 20s. But once you pass 30, that will come to bite you. So if you're getting close to 30, you must jump higher in the social ladder. At least don't be on the bottom, because that will kill your social life. Nobody wants to be with the guy at the bottom. They don't see any value in you, especially women, because when you get older, most women have already relationships and they know tons of guys. So for you to become even an option just on the paper for them, or in the back of their minds, and they see you're on the bottom of the social ladder, that makes your struggle even much more difficult. Avoid low-wage jobs which deprive you from interaction with women, especially the low-paid jobs which are male-dominated. They don't give you any opportunity for social interaction. They don't give you any opportunity of learning new skills, and they don't give you any opportunity of upward mobility. Some of you guys who just finished high school are very young, and you're not employed. In a very competitive world today, if you're unemployed for 6 months, you're considered a long-term unemployed. That will screw you for life if you don't manage it swiftly and strongly. Fast and swift should be dealt with. Get a job, any job, okay? Just have something that you prove that you've been working and you get some little money in your pocket. While you're working, yes, try to develop yourself and see your future. If you're unemployed in your early 20s and you can't get a job, one of the good ways to manage yourself and improve your chance socially and with women is to become a volunteer. Get a volunteering job. Go to a big public hospital or a big cinema or a big international venue that you have around you, and a natural reserve. And tell them, look, I want to come twice a day, and I just stay at the door and I'm just greeting the visitors and I give them the pamphlets and where's the amenities, where's the shops, what's going on, what show is on. You can do it. You do it once a day, twice a day in a busy place. At least it allows you to maintain and improve your social skills. And when you apply for a job, you can put that on your resume that I'm a volunteer at such and such hospital, or I'm working at the local council as a guide. It helps you to build your skills. Do not dwell in your mom's basement when you're in your late teens or early 20s. Expect some angel land from the heaven and deliver you to the best jobs and the best social positions and the best woman. It won't happen. You're out of work for a couple of years, okay? You're screwed. There's a gap in your resume. You're screwed. You don't have the connections. You didn't build any connections. How do you want to go for a better job then? You don't have anything on your resume. You will be dealing with low-wage jobs for the rest of your lives. Don't do it. Even if you want to go to university, still have some jobs in your resume, something that you really need and you can put it on your resume. I don't know this guy who's 30-something and he's unemployed and he's living with his parents. How is he going to get women? What woman wants to be with that guy? I know there are women, but there's not many of them. I have seen women who date unemployed and low IQ, socially incompetent, but there's not many of them. Okay? Especially if you're not attractive. Now you can be a flamboyant Nancy boy. Okay, you can be a girly guy, you can be a pretty guy and unemployed. It doesn't matter. I've seen it. Guys like that get women. But you don't have anything to give you a leverage. So be careful from falling into destructive behaviors and NEET. Some of you have artistic talents. Use them to build a network. I noticed a guy, I think his name is, or his YouTube channel is, Forever Alone Guy. And he's a good drawer. He has good drawings. He can draw a sketch of your face and it's good. A guy like that who have an artistic appetite or aptitude, invest on that talent. It's an existing talent. Invest on it. Okay? Improve upon it. Imagine you're sitting in a cafeteria and you grab your paper and you're sitting in a corner. You see a beautiful girl. You do a nice sketch of her. She looks like, makes her look beautiful, and then go walk up to her and say hello to her. Hey, look, I saw you around. I was just practicing my drawing routine. I love art and things like that. I just saw you. You're interesting. And I said I'm gonna try to use you as my model. Sorry, I didn't tell you, but I just want to give you this. Women who are mentally stable and emotionally stable tend to appreciate aesthetics. If you have any genuine artistic talent, use it to build social network. Okay? So you can take your art, go to your local council, tell them, look, I have a body of art I want to display. Do you guys have any art fair going on or any place that local artists can exhibit their works? See if there's any artistic groups around you can cooperate with them, or just go to their meetings or whatever. They have a show, you can go there and talk to someone, show some work to a good artist. If you're just holding it like this, nobody gonna notice that you're an artist. Or if you neglect it, it's gonna go away. Imagine if you play saxophone, if you play violin, go out on a Saturday night, Friday night to a busy restaurant district or entertainment district and just busk. Just play. If busking is illegal, just play for free for half an hour. Do that twice a month. In a year, a couple of people in that neighborhood will notice you. Okay? Women in that neighborhood will notice you. Someone will come and say hello to you. Okay? So you already have a couple of people in the neighborhood who know you. And it also builds your self-esteem, your self-value. Higher education. I know some of the guys, they talk about going to university for meeting women or improving their social status and employment opportunities. It depends. It depends on what stage of life you are. If you're coming right out of high school, you live with your family, they protect you, they support you, you don't have a girlfriend, you don't have a job, try to get a job, nothing worked for you, go to university. Okay? The best time of going to university is 18 to 22. You go to university, there's like hundreds of people. They're all in your age group. Okay? They're all in your age group. They don't have life experiences. Okay? They're not that, women when they're young, they're not that picky. Most universities have a higher number of women to men. The ratio of female to male is disproportionate. Go to university, get active, whatever activities, extracurriculum activities. Get involved in what you like and develop yourself, rather than sitting at home with your parents, just whining and crying and thinking some miracle to happen. It won't. If you're an older guy, if you're 25, 27 plus, I say give it a good thought for going to university, because you're going to go to university, you're not going to socialize with anyone. You're not going to meet a woman in your age group, because the age group there is from 18 to 22, maximum 25. Like you see guys in their 23, 24, they're doing PhD. You want to go to university 25 plus or 30 plus, you will be alone. You won't be talking to anyone. You just go alone, you come alone, okay, and it becomes very boring and debilitating. You don't even have anyone to talk to. Women, they're not going to talk to you because you're old. They are coming out of high school with their high school sweethearts. They're not coming to date you or see you or find interest in you. Okay, especially if you're old. They look at you, oh, is this old and obsolete guy who's creepy and he wants to talk to us. No, don't do it. Especially, you gotta put in consideration the financial burden of going to university for a guy who's in his 30s. So you have to balance it. Unless it is absolutely essential to your professional development, then go to university. Otherwise, going to university to meeting women is not a good idea. Again, the destructive behaviors resulting from nihilism. Because this experience of TFL insult is an excruciating pain. So people look around to find things to distract themselves. You have drug addiction, alcohol addiction, very common. Shopping addiction, pornography, reckless behavior, dwelling on the past. Please do not dwell on the past, okay? Whatever happened in the past, let it go. It's not going to help you in the future. The sooner that you let go of your past, of that negative experiences, you try to heal yourself, you have better option with women and socially and everything else. I see lots of TFL as a dwelling on the past and the negativity of the past. So if you just constantly leave negativity, you just create a huge radiomagnetic energy of negativity around you, and you walk like a big ball of negativity. And that affects your mood, your vibe, and your aura. Avoid the manosphere and reduce the intake of news, Macho and PUA's content. The manosphere is just like a toxic place in a very it's a digital toxic sphere, let's say. Don't listen to much news. News is designed to debilitate you and demoralize you. Reduce the news intake. Reduce the intake of all these meaningless political debates, especially some of you guys who are in the US. What did Lawrence Southern says? What did the Republicans say? Or the liberals said such thing? Or the feminists? Or the social justice warriors, and I'm conservative. Milo said this, Ben Shapiro said this, oh my God, Dr. Jordan Peterson said this. Cut it off. It's all meaningless. It's all meaningless. Macho. Many men turn into the Macho ideology, which is a coping mechanism, to be honest. I guess many of you already noticed, and you know that Macho is a philosophy of denial. It's a coping mechanism. It offers very little solution. I mean, I agree with them. Male empowerment, your pride, your health, your well-being, your self-advancement. Don't bow down to a woman. Don't supplicate. Don't beg. Don't grovel. Don't simp. That's good. But how many men out there are applying these things? And where I come to depart from the Macho ideology is that they don't have any answer for the male biological needs. So Macho is a defective ideology. Stop watching their videos. Don't have anything to do with them, because they poison your mind. Prostitution, to relieve yourself sexually. It's okay for a while, but in long term, it's not going to satisfy you sexually or emotionally. You're just wasting your time and your money and your energy on women who don't even like you. Okay? Most prostitutes hate men. So try to get your sexual urges under control. And because if you get addicted to prostitution, then you'll be paying all your money to prostitutes. It's never ending. It's not going to stop. The sexual urge is with you until you drop dead. Or you get hit the wall. Prostitution is also risky and costly. Yeah, one of the Mechtos preach, oh, go see a hooker. No, seeing a prostitute does not solve your problem as a male. It doesn't even sexually satisfy you. Here's another concept that some of the Mechto channels preach. The concept of sex bot. Oh my God, the sex bots are coming. Oh, women are nervous now. Oh, women, oh, they lost the game. The sex bots are coming, and we don't need women anymore. And they're gonna be miserable. Guys, get real. Women don't care if you sleep with a sex bot or with a dog or a donkey. They don't care about you. It's not their concern. Okay? There's enough simps, suckers, manginas, beggars, women beggars, pussy beggars, clowns who will do anything to get female validation. There are men who are willing to stab each other to get a little bit of ham from a woman. Okay? Women don't care if 50% of men, 70%, 80%, 90% of men just commit collective suicide right now. It won't affect the operation of women whatsoever. And I'm really suspicious about a couple of these YouTube channels that they keep frequently mentioning the concept of sex bots. They don't understand. Here's the thing, the manosphere just regurgitate and repeat ideas. Nobody thinks where is the origin of an idea came from. The origin of sex bot, having sex with robots, is rooted in the transhumanist and cybernetic agenda, the cybernetic literature. It's been around for decades. What they think to do is elevate the machine into a status of a human and reduce the human to a status of machine. So they want to create a man-machine. Okay? They want to mix the artificial intelligence with mechanism and put it within the human. It's been around for a long, long time. You see lots of Hollywood movies that there is a theme repeatedly that you have a robot and the robot has emotion, it has a feeling. The robot feels more than humans. The robot feels for the human more than themselves. The robot is sad. The robot is depressed. The robot is worried. The robot is in love. This concept of sex bot is coming from the cybernetic and transhumanist literature. And I believe some of these YouTubers, there's a couple of them specifically, that they are promoting this ideology without knowing that. And one thing else, say the sex bots came out. You think you're going to go buy one? No. First of all, they're patent, and they come up in major brands. They will be sold in part, each part sold separately, okay? And they will be very, very expensive. They will be very, very expensive, okay? And there will be nowhere satisfactory to a real woman, unfortunately, some of you. So get that idea of sex bot out of your head. Dating coaches, PUAs. PUAs, okay. Dating coaches and PUAs. Bunch of scoundrels and con artists. Okay? Guys, nobody can teach you how to sexually attract women. Okay? If you have a shortage in something, it's in your social skill, how you come by, or you have neurological problem that we mentioned, the endogenous neurological problems which affect you. If you have a normal development and you reach your adulthood normally, you're intellectually fine, you can talk, you're intelligent, you don't need a dating coach. Every last one of them is a clown and a con artist. Don't give them a penny, don't watch their video, don't listen to them. Very few of them have like meaningless things to say within the whole sea of nonsense. Okay? So don't waste time with them. PUAs. What is that? They teach you to act like clowns. Or if you could act like an uninhibited clown, we didn't need them. Okay? Clowns always have girlfriends. So if you're a TFL and Incel, you're already suffering from high behavioral inhibition. You're not going to act like a clown efficiently to attract a woman who sees you as a clown. Okay? Many of the things that they teach you actually put you in trouble if you want to apply them in real life. You get in trouble. And some of them are very arrogant, conceited, delusional. They're just deceiving you. There's one of them is very popular. Unfortunately, this is sad. This guy gets thousands of views. He thinks he's the king of seduction. He can teach you how to seduce women. Okay? Now, I've been around for a long time. I can call out a bullshit from distance. Seduction is something inborn. It's in you. You either have it or you don't. If you have it, you might be able to improve upon it and apply it directly with intention. If you don't have it, you cannot acquire it. Okay? Nobody can teach you seduction. Men who have ability to seduce women don't go around telling people, hey, I'm a king of seduction, I can get a woman, but just looking at her. Okay? And acting conceited and arrogant and try to shame you and make you feel bad about yourself. These guys are clowns. In real life, if I see that guy who says, I'm a king of seduction, or there's a guy who says, I'm a king of nightclubbing, a master of nightclubbing, I will smoke them in seconds. I will just dismantle them. Nobody can teach you to be seductive. Men who are doing well with women, I tell you something about them. They're quiet. Okay? They don't even know they're doing well with women. Why? Because everything happens to them naturally. They're not putting out any effort. It's naturally. They're just there. And things happen naturally. In all animal kingdom, attraction happens naturally. It's a natural phenomenon. We struggle because we have artificial social situations beyond our power, social changes beyond our power. We have very complicated social norms, which some of us will fall behind. And you have the internal factors, the endogenous and exogenous neurological problem, which affect your behavior. You don't, if you get out these exogenous and endogenous problems, you will be doing well with women without a dating coach, without a PUA, without any stupid game or nonsense. Okay? Guys who do well with women, they don't know because they are on autopilot. So anyone came to you and said, hey, look, I do this woman, discount him. Okay? There's another thing. There's another guy who preaches, again, the same conceitedness, arrogance. I can see the superficiality. Fuck them hoes to sleep, fuck them hoes to sleep, pump them hoes, pump and dump them hoes, give them a dick and send them home. What are they, like beggars coming to your door for food and you give them a dick as a food and they go home? Give them a dick and send them home? It's sad that a degenerate clown like that get thousands of views. If the manosphere was healthy, there would have been hundreds of videos about him calling that guy clown. There would be hundreds of videos calling that guy a degenerate clown that he is. On workout. How does working out affect your ability to attract women? All you have to do is just use your brain. PUAs are degenerate clowns. Let go of them. Don't listen to them. Ignore them. And don't pay them a penny. Anyone came to you, try to sell you something, help you with your TFL problem, with your Inceldom, want some money, ignore them. Okay? This is a very complicated issue. It has lots of, it's a multifaceted issue. And it's you the only one who can point out where the problem is. I think I gave out a good prognosis. So you can figure out where is your problem and you can work on it. No one else can offer you any solution. Nobody. You can solve this problem. Only you. Let's move on. Let's talk about the concept of approaching women. This is another topic that the PUAs and MECTOs and dating coaches, they don't want to use their brain. When you approach a female that you don't know, she doesn't know you, she hasn't met you before, you're total strangers. So you see her, you think, oh, she's fine, I'm going to go talk to her. What you're going to do is you're going to creep her out and you're going to terrorize her. Women see men as threats, especially stranger men. They see them as existential threats. I don't know how to say that for men to understand. When you go approach a female, you're not impressing her. You're not turning her on. You are frightening her. And when she's fearful, when she doesn't feel safe, she's not going to be sexually attracted to you. I don't care who you are. Unless you're a celebrity. Okay? You're a renowned celebrity. You walk up to a woman, yes, there's a halo effect on you. Let me read this. This is from Psychology Today. If getting creeped out is a reaction to a potential threat, men are simply more physically dangerous to men and women alike. The fact that women are at greater risk for sexual assault and the cost of this are potentially greater for them means they must be especially vigilant about sexual threats, and hence they are more likely to fear that a guy may not be just a creep but a pervert as well. Okay? So if you want to creep a woman out and she makes she thinks that you're a pervert and a creep and a threat, walk up to a stranger female and try to ask her phone number. Men are, of course, painfully aware of how easily they can come across as creepy. And the fear of looking and sounding like a creep is the source of much of the awkwardness that men display when they approach women. So, all men, all healthy men, have this anxiety when you approach a stranger female. This anxiety is not there's something wrong with you. It's not that you don't have self-esteem or confidence. It's something in you, in your biological design. Okay? It's part of your original design. And in the original design of the female, to be fearful of a stranger male. This is why lots of men struggle when they want to talk to a stranger female, especially if they want to attract interest, express interest. Some men are at greater risk than others in such situations. Good-looking men with strong social skills can get away with a lot more than awkward guys with unusual and less attractive physical traits. Other demographic variables such as age and race may also play a role, and the trope of the dirty old man exists, for a reason. Now, why when you approach a female you're stressed? Why the female is so stressed? Okay, even if she can manage herself and don't show it, but she's frightened. She is terrorized. Woman's deepest fear when interacting with a man is that he will kill/hurt her. A man's deepest fear when interacting with a new woman is that she will sexually humiliate him. Woman's deepest fear when interacting with a man is that he will kill/hurt her. A man's deepest fear when interacting with a new woman is that she will sexually humiliate him. Okay? Understanding this can help you understand all male-female interactions. In other words, if man approaching a woman, make sure, if you're a man approaching a woman, make sure that she feels safe and protected while you're trying to charm her. If you cannot achieve this and deliver to that female the sense that she's safe and protected, do not approach a woman. Approach one only that after you got to know them, or they're in a social setting that they are protected and they feel safe and comfortable. This is what the PUAs, they don't tell you. They tell you, oh, approach 20 women a day. What a dumb statement that is. What a stupid person tells you approach 20 women a day. Guys, if you're socially inept, you come by aggressive, you're not very attractive, you don't have sex appeal, you don't have emotional appeal, you're hyper-masculine, you approach a female, she will freak out. Approach 20 women, they will do the same. Approach 100 women, it will be the same. Approach them on daytime, approach them on nighttime, approach them on their lunch break, it doesn't make a difference. Okay? Be careful also, part of the perception management, you must be careful not to come by as a threat and creepy. Look, Maxine. Again, this is like a religion to some of you guys. I don't believe much in lookism. I said it before. Look has very unsubstantial result on your dating life. Most of you people who have problem with women, as far as I can see your videos, you're not ugly guys. Some of you are actually handsome. Like, look at Just James. Just James is not an ugly guy. He's, how old is he? 28 or 30? He's still a virgin. Virgin Messiah is not an ugly guy. If you get obsessed with the concept of look maxing, how do you wanna do that? Maximizing your look. You'll be going from one operation to another operation. You'll be spending years at the hospitals. Okay, and how are you gonna finance that? But what you can do is look after yourself, maintain personal hygiene, dress nice, do the things that affect the health of your face, like have a clean skin. You know, there's lots of skin products that you can make your skin looks healthier. Excuse me. I see women respond to soft and flawless skins. So invest on your skins. You don't have to get overboard. Maintain good health, good sleep pattern that improves your health. If you have a deformity and you can fix it by an operation, well, feel free. But if you don't have any deformity, okay, you should be fine, I believe. Because it doesn't matter how ugly you think you are. There's a guy uglier than you with a beautiful woman. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. As far as maintaining personal hygiene, you should be fine. Clothes. Don't get overboard buying expensive clothes trying to impress women. It doesn't work. It might have worked in the 80s or the 90s, but now it's meaningless. Okay, if you dress loud, then you come by off as well. You might be, unless you're a celebrity, yes, but you dress loud, that might give away a sense of insecurity in you. Don't get overboard with expensive clothes and brands and whatnot. No, keep it simple, keep it decent. Something you need to watch, especially younger guys. There's a difference between dressing nice and dressing trendy. So make sure whatever you dress is not far off from the way that the average of your peers dress. Because if you dress in a way which makes you look obsolete or off or weird, that again will set you apart. Watch how the youth of your age group wear. Try to wear like that. And don't go for expensive brands. Just keep it simple, keep it decent. Okay? You're just an incel or just another TFLer with expensive clothes that nobody wants to talk to. Cars. I know this concept, oh, have a car. Look, having a car is not a sign of status nowadays. Okay? Women can buy cars. Now, most expensive cars that I see around me, drivers are females. Okay? If you need to buy a car, just get something affordable within your budget. Don't kill yourself for an expensive car. It does not improve your life with women whatsoever. Okay, maybe in the 80s you could have an expensive car that was a status, and you get a girl, she wants free ride, but nowadays she can buy her own car. Yeah, so keep it in moderation. I believe if you manage your emotions, how do you combine your mental health, your aura, your vibe, and you apply the mode of standardization, you put yourself in a place that you can naturally interact with women, you already done most of the work. Okay, most guys that have women, they're not doing some secret, they're not applying some secret recipes to themselves. It just happened naturally. They're just there somewhere with women, okay, and they build connection with them. They're not walking out of their comfort zone. So by putting yourself in proximity of women, constant interaction with your peers, you gradually start to build a social network of people who know you and trust you. And once you get yourself out of the basement here, you become more comfortable around women. And hopefully one day you will get out of the TFL and Incel. And I believe if you adhere to these solutions, even if you couldn't get women, at least you're not descending into destruction and more pain and more suffering for yourself. So, with women or without women, please don't destroy yourself. This is my final advice. I hope this video was useful to you. And this is not going to be a YouTube channel. I'm going to leave my email down if you are interested, or if you think this video is useful and I can help you with. Feel free to shoot me an email. If you are familiar with a scientific research pertaining to the TFL or Incel problem, please let me know. And yeah, good luck.